Hey everybody, Brian Jackson here with another episode of Friends of Brry. Today I'm really excited. He's a hero because he saved my butt for this show. I had somebody cancel last minute, but here he is. He's a true hero. He gives Smokey the Bear a run for his money with cuteness. And I heard urban legend that he actually punched a fire with his bare hands and put it out. That's how awesome of a firefighter he is, but he's a community leader. He is somebody that I look to and respect. Mark Highlander, who I had on the show a couple weeks ago, gave him a shout out, and now you get to meet him. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Captain Doug Rains.
Thanks, Brian. It's great to be here. And as you said a second ago, I look up to you. You are an amazing person with an amazing story, of course. And I can't say enough about the fact that I feel honored to be your friend. So thank you.
Well, thank you for those kind words, and it's always one thing that I really love about Doug is he always has the best introduction. I don't know if you've practiced that introduction, but I like how you always introduce yourself. Even if we're meeting again, you're always quick to say, "Hey, Captain Doug Ryan from Vision St. Charles class of what class were you in?"
The 2019 class, which is the best class ever.
That's class ever.
That's right.
And then, yeah, it just never gets old. But I like it. It's you, and yeah, I just love it.
So that's one thing that my dad always taught me was you always shake a hand, you always look them in the eye, and you have that introduction, and that's something that you'll see my family do as well. My son, who's 15, he does the same thing, and it's just something that he's picked up, and I think that's just a sign of respect for the people that you're meeting, and it shows the character that you have, and I applaud my parents for teaching me that.
That's an awesome skill to have. So take one from you, look people in the eye, shake their hand, and give a great introduction.
Yes. Yes,
So,
and it helpful too in the fact that maybe I don't remember your name, so hopefully you remind me of your name as I'm telling you my name, as that's probably happened a time or two with both parties meeting. So it's a little trick.
you are a firefighter,
Yes,
and you're the captain in
yes,
St. Charles, Missouri.
in
And what
St.
engine
Peter's area,
number?
but yes, I'm sorry.
What station?
So I'm with Central County Fire and Rescue, and my station is Station 3 on Willott Road. We have 6 stations throughout, basically from Cave Springs to the Salt Lick Road area and river to river. We cover about 82 square miles. So the 6 stations, I'm at Station 3, and I'm on C shift. We have 3 shifts, which is A, B, and C shift. Um, we work 48 hours. So yesterday morning I came in at 7, and I will go home tomorrow morning at 7, and I'll spend the next 4 days with my family.
And how did you become a firefighter?
So my father was actually a firefighter in Florida, down in Broward County area when I was younger. We moved down there. I was down there for about 7 years. He was a fireman down there. And then since our family was up here, he found a job with St. Charles City back in 1979. And he was a fireman there from 79 to I believe 87. And, it's something that I believe you're born with or you're brought up with, you're raised with. One, following the footsteps of my father. Two, wanting to help people. And I think you'll find that any firefighter, police officer, EMS worker, dispatcher, nurse, doctor, one of the things that they'll always make a statement of early in their career and late in their career is they want to make a difference. And that's truly what I believe my calling is I want to be able to make a difference. And that's why I'm so involved in the St. Charles County community areas, because I want to make our community a better place to live. But my father was a fireman, and basically grew up around the firehouse. And my brother is actually a captain up in the Spanish Lake area, so he has also followed in our father's footsteps. My nephew, who is just graduating high school this year, his goal is to become a fireman as well. So I believe it's two things: something you're born with, and something you see a passion in your parents or somebody else that you want to help others as well.
So we're getting a couple of shout outs here. Somebody caught us a dynamic duo.
Say that
I like
again.
to, somebody caught us a dynamic duo and said hi, guys.
Dynamic duo, huh?
Krista
That's
Montgomery,
oh well, that's not it. That's a very nice compliment coming from her. That's for sure. She's a wonderful person.
very wonderful person. So you kind of followed in your father's footsteps, and you talked about, you kind of you have to be born for it. What would you say the best? What do you say the skills? And I know you're a man of many skills, right? You got the leadership skills, um, but what skills does the firefighter have in order to operate and be good at the job?
I really think a lot of it has to do with compassion. You want to help people. You think about the role of the firefighter or any first responder. It's really, we're the last resort for those people. When they can't fix something or when something goes so wrong, they need help. And it's really having that compassion and that empathy for what they're going through at that time and understanding that we are the last resort for them. Um, so I think compassion is probably something that you'll find in all first responders, all doctors and nurses, because they want to help people. And like I said, when you develop the skill and you train hard for that, you want to be able to fix that for those people when they call. So I would say compassion for sure. I don't know if it's really a skill that you learn. I think it's a skill you develop over a series of years or series of events.
Gotcha. I would totally be on the same page as you. I do think that um, it is developed over time, and I think it's a muscle, and I think that the more we don't get to use it, or the more we don't get to flex it, it kind of goes away. And so I'm always excited about people who are flexing and really strengthening that compassionate muscle that they have, daily. And I think that's something that you do so well. I mean, your job calls for it, but I didn't know about all the awards and all the things that you were involved in until I Googled your name, because I wanted to make sure I was getting your title right. Um, but yeah, compassion goes a long way. And one thing that I always tell people, and we kind of talked about this in the leadership thing, is like, you never know who's watching. Um, so what are you doing? And what are you giving 100% in? And I think compassion can be something that we can give 200% in,
Correct. You touched on it perfectly. You said it's like a muscle. It's very much like a smile. You have no idea how far a smile goes in somebody else's life until you attempt to do it or you do that. Or my kids make fun of me all the time because when I go through the store, I make sure that I call out the person's name on their name tag. And we in society we love to hear our name called. It just makes us feel good. So when you're standing at the checkout line and you're able to see that person's name, smile at them, say especially in today's times with what's going on, especially the grocery workers, they're in a role that they've never thought that they would be in. But to say I appreciate you, I appreciate what you're doing. Thanks, Bill or Sarah or whatever their names are, but you call them out directly. I think a smile and that attitude of being compassionate about what they're going through, I think you're right. That is exactly what compassion is. It's that muscle of constantly doing that same I appreciate you smile and thought all the time.
Yeah, I think it's doesn't Dale Carnegie say there's no sweeter sound to one's ear than their own name?
Yep, absolutely.
Another thing that I want to just touch base on compassion is I was raised by a mom who's always, you need to think of that. You need to thank the police officers. You need to
Yep.
thank, those people, because we can go from an economical standpoint. Like, you guys aren't, for the work that you put, where you're putting a risk every day in your lives. Like, you guys aren't compensated well for that. And that's one reason you should be thankful. But I mean, we should even be thankful for the people who are sweeping the floors. And I don't,
Absolutely.
and I'm a person who would go out of my way seeing somebody cleaning because I know people hate to clean. I'm sure you guys at the station don't like cleaning. You got the rookie doing it, you know, part of training, right?
Right.
Um,
Something like that.
but the thing is, it's like whether it's somebody's job or not, like it would go a long way if you just say, "Hey, thank you for keeping this clean. Hey, thank you for thank you for doing your job," because it helps people realize that they actually do matter. And as
Absolutely.
human beings, we have those off days where we don't think we matter. Like
Right.
we see the world that the world can operate. And so for me, it's a great pleasure to be able to be thankful and show my gratitude to anybody who's doing their job and anybody who's putting their life on the line daily. Um, so once again, thank you for that, and thank you for starting this conversation about compassion.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The one thing that I think is more out of your statement you said, and you started in the very beginning of the last statement, was your mom. Your mom is an amazing person. Just from the once or twice that I've heard you speak, that we've spoke about, your mom is somebody that I think it's an opportunity to meet you. They should hear about your mom, because I believe that your mom has set a road for you that I don't know that many people, strong people, would have been able to do what she did. And you're right, she's an amazing person. So, big shout out to your mom for that.
Uh, I'm sure I'll make sure she watches this video, and she doesn't know who you are, but I tell her all the time, "Hey, Doug Rains says like you're awesome. Hey, Doug, my friend Doug Rains commented on the hey said you're awesome. So
Yep.
I constantly remind her, and I think we are both blessed enough to have some. I mean, I had one bad parent, but I had one great parent to make up
Right.
for it. And I'm so thankful that our parents are the reason that we continue to strive to be better people
Oh yeah.
in this world and leave a
Who's
legacy.
the best cheerleader you have in your life? It's definitely your mom. My mom is that for sure. I can not do anything wrong. My mom thinks I'm a saint. So I definitely appreciate my mom. There's no doubt about that.
So a big shout out to all the moms out there.
Absolutely.
So one thing that I really want to highlight is decision making, right? And I think sometimes a lot of people shy away from making decisions because we don't want to make the wrong one. But I thought about what better person to talk to than a firefighter about decision making, because like we were kind of creating dialogue for today, is a split second decision can be a situation of life or death.
Right.
And I just want to know what does decision making look like for you?
So every emergency situation is different, and then if we're being specific to emergency situations, and a lot of it has to go back to experience. My battalion chief, Sean Webb, who's been one of my biggest supporters, somebody I look up to, somebody that has taught me a lot, somebody that I bounce ideas off of. He's always said, make a decision. Make a decision based on what you know and what we've talked about or what you've experienced and what you've learned. And we'll decide later if it was the 100% best decision or not. But in this job, you have to make a decision. And experience with that, those decisions become easier because you can take back to the Rolodex of memories and go, yeah, I remember that from this incident. I remember this part from this incident. Even though they're not the same, it's not the same house, it's not the same environment, the daytime, whatever, you still take from that experience. So those decision-making skills just come from that experience. In this job, book smart is great, but street smarts go a lot farther because it's reality. It's what you've done. It's what you've taken from. So when we make those split decisions, or we make those decisions immediately, we're thinking of the safety of one. As a captain, you're thinking the safety of the crews, the guys behind you, the guys and gals that are working with us, taking consideration the safety of the people around us. As fast as we want to get to that scene of that house fire, that emergency, we also know that we have to drive through traffic safely. So those decisions start as soon as those bells drop, and it's how fast do we want to go? What risks do we want to take when we get there? How much life and property can we save without getting anybody else endangered? So those split-second decisions really, come from that experience of wanting to do the best job you can with the resources you have available.
And I know we were talking about emergency situation, but I think you hit it. You hit a nail there. Is that you have to make a decision
Right.
whether you like to or not.
Yep.
And oftentimes in our personal lives decision making, we get so caught up in the could have, would have, should have, right?
Right.
But I think you highlighted something very important. Like we need to make a decision. If the milk spills, right, we can either cry about it or we can just clean it up and then cry later, right?
Yep.
But at least the milk is getting cleaned up.
Yep.
And so we can always second guess our decision after. And I'm not condoning all decision making here. I'm just like being very specific to the good things, the good choices that we embrace. But we have to make a decision. And one of my favorite sayings is 3 frogs on a log. One decides to jump. How many are left? And it's like 3 because one decided to, but did he actually execute it?
Gotcha.
And so in your decision making, your execution has to come, pretty not fast paced, but think about it, bring up the experience. If I do this, what are the consequences? What are the blessings? And then on the flip side, just do it. And then if you don't like it, you can always change your mind later.
Exactly. And that's how we gain experience. We gain experience from good decisions, and we probably gain more experience from bad decisions. But at least we have decided to do something and take that leap, make that frog jump off the log and realize, yeah, I don't need to be out there. Right. So,
Yeah.
most good business leaders have failed at least once or twice. They've learned from that, but they at least took the step. So many people give up before they try. And just they mentally say, I can't do it. Well, how do you know you can't do it? You have to try. And if it's too much for you, then at least you can say, I tried, and maybe I need to go a different route or a different approach. But at least I know that this isn't the way to go. So many people are in this world, right? But how many people are living in this world? And there's a difference of being here and living in this world. Take a chance, step, make a decision, do something to go forward. I think you'll surprise yourself, especially if you go through it with that attitude of, if I don't do anything, I'll never know. And if I go forward, at least I'll know. And you'll be more successful with trying. Like Wayne Gretzky says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So
Right.
Take a shot.
I mean, I was telling somebody today that life happens when you show up, right? And life happens when you make choices, and sometimes they're going to be tough choices, but at least you make them.
Yep.
And I always like that saying, like, make you, you made your bed, so sleep in it, right?
Yep.
And people like take that literally, like, oh, you just need to deal with it. But it's like, no, like what we're saying, like, you can change your bedding sheet, right? You can do the laundry. You don't have to be stuck with that. What you do have to be stuck with, though, is your mentality. And as a coach, what I tell all my clients is when you have those could have, would have, should have, those are probably more of you out to do them. Because your mind's saying, like, I kind of need to do something a little bit different, Yep.
No, I agree. Change is good, and sometimes change needs to happen. It's not easy to change because you're comfortable.
So, what is one of the best parts? I would kind of want to get back to like a little bit of firefighting and stuff. What's one of the best? I mean, you kind of already answered it with the compassion and stuff, with the skills and stuff. But what do you find one of the best parts of the job is?
Besides the helping of the community and being involved in the community, I feel like one of the best roles that I enjoy now more than ever. I've been here for 25 years, so 25 years of experience, 25 years of making good and bad decisions. I will tell you, and I tell everybody, I was hired here at the St. Peter's Fire District in 1995. In 98, we kind of merged and became a new, bigger department, and I was promoted to captain. And that was the worst and the best thing that ever happened to me. One, because I made so many bad decisions that I spent a lot of time talking to the chief about what would be a better thought process or what would be a better decision, because my Rolodex of skill or experience was small. So I didn't have that opportunity. So what I found now is I want to be able to give that experience, that 25 years of experience, to the people that are up and coming, the people that are going to replace me. And I want to be able to take them through my Rolodex of experience and say, look, these are the things that I saw, because I want to be a better mentor than the people that were there for me. So my idea is I want to be able to give back. And when I leave this job, I want to be able to leave it better, and knowing that the people that are stepping into my role are going to be much more suited for it than I was 22 years ago when I put that red helmet on or became a captain. So I feel like, basically building a nice platform of people to take my place is what I really find value in today. I find that there's a lot of people coming into our apartment now, and they really want to learn. There's a lot of people that I would call a sponge. That they if I woke them up at 2 o'clock in the morning and said, "Hey, let's go outside and flow some water, or hook up to a hydrant, or do some of these things," they would be like, "Let's go. I'm ready to go." And I love that about some of the people that are here, because that's their mentality. They want to try and learn as much as they can as possible, so that when that time comes, they have that Rolodex of experience based on what we've talked about or what we've run through. So right now for me, it's really giving back and helping mentor some of the people that want to be mentored.
And that's another life lesson that I have is like leave things better than when you find it, right?
Exactly. Yep.
And
I couldn't agree
so
with that more.
Central County, fire department can look a whole lot different the day you started on the day you retired, right? And I
Yeah.
think you are somebody who is making an impact. So I mean, the day you were born, the world's going to look a lot different than that. And
Oh yeah.
that's what I strive to do, and leaving a legacy is like every speech I give, I want to make sure I go in there and I leave the room better than when I found it. When I check into a hotel, I want that room to be like somebody walks in there and like, did anybody sleep here at night?
Right.
Um, but I just want to leave things better than when I find it, and it can be for people out there. It could be as simple as just picking up trash that's not yours. Now, there's COVID pending, right? So I haven't been so quick to do that. Um, but there's just small things that we can do daily in everybody's lives that can has the opportunity to give back. We don't need this big grand gesture. We don't need this title. You happen to have a great platform. You happen to have this title, but I mean, I feel like if you take those away, you're gonna get the real deal of the grains in the flesh.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the fact that people have recognized the efforts that I've done over the past so many years, and I do have some of those awards and recognitions that you spoke of early on in the interview. However, that's not why I do those things. I do those things to make our community better. I do those to help the people around me strive to their next goal, or strive to be better people for their organization or their business. So yeah, it has nothing to do with the title. It has nothing to do with the pat on the back. It has nothing to do with receiving a plaque or an award. It has everything to do with surrounding myself with the people that you know and have been a part of for I don't know how many years you've been associated with the people from Vision, and people like Mark Hollander, and all those people that are associated with Vision. You surround yourself with those people. One, you can't help but smile. Two, when you're done with a meeting or you're done sitting down talking to those people, you know that you can conquer the world. You know that you can make a difference. You just leave it with so much energy. It's just unbelievable. And you don't toot your horn enough, Mr. Jackson. I've watched these interviews for the past couple of weeks, and I see you interviewing all these people, and you're one of those people that I look up to and think, wow, this guy is an amazing person. More people need to hear your story, not because it's an amazing story, but because it comes from an amazing person. That when you smile and you're getting ready to smile, you know that is contagious right there. It is. You just have that about you. And surrounding myself with people like yourself, it automatically makes you want to do better. And thank you for that.
Thank you once again. It's kind of hard not to smile when somebody says don't smile.
I knew it was coming.
And Pam Reeves Alvarez says,
That's my,
"Hi, Doug. Love you,
that's
Mom."
mom. Thanks, mom. Hi, mom.
That's Mom. Shout out to Mom.
Shout out to
More
mom.
Mom
Now
shout out.
she's got the pom poms out, I'm sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish my mom got on Facebook more. She's
Yeah.
not a Facebook type person.
Uh, my mom does okay.
So thank you for making me smile.
Well,
Just
thank you,
if
really, and I truly mean that. You don't toot your horn enough. I mean, if more people heard what you said, more people would be out there conquering this world and doing better, bigger and better things. If you're watching this and you get an opportunity, have Brian Jackson come to your organization and just have him speak for an hour and tell me that he didn't change your life. I know that several people, probably 50 minimum, have heard your story and talked to you personally and have felt your story and felt what a person you are. And like I said, how great your mom is and how, regardless of how bad things appear, good things happen.
good things always happen.
Yep.
And I thank you for those kind words. I do hope more people can hear me speak. But I mean, I don't. I mean, we're in the same boat here. Like I don't do it for the recognition. I do it because I actually want to change people's lives, and I want to, have that compassion. I want to leave the world better than when I found it. And there's just something about people that just like draw the goodness out of me and want me to do it more. And there's some bad people. There's some bad apples in this world, but we
Yep.
can't allow a few bad apples to spoil the whole batch, And I don't know. I tell people all the time. There's two ways that you can look at the world, right? You can either look at it through the lens of, oh wow, there's a lot of problems, or you can look at it through the lens of like, wow, there's a lot of solutions that we can come together and work on. And I'm sure that, as this pandemic hit, I'm sure you guys as first responders weren't, ready for that and stuff, and it's completely changed everybody's life. But
Yeah,
regardless of how it changed us, like we still gotta put our footprint on this world through it all.
exactly. And you're right. I don't think anybody was prepared for what took place, but we could see a lot of good coming from it. You can see how many of the restaurants and small businesses are being more supported now today than ever before because people recognize that. Well, we could see the changes that probably needed to be made regarding personal hygiene and distancing and space and things like that. But we've made some changes, but let's take from the positive. A tree doesn't dig its roots in unless it has wind, right? So once the wind blows harder, then that tree's got to dig its roots in. So even though it's a negative thing on the tree, it actually becomes a positive. The deeper those roots go, the longer it stays alive, the stronger that tree becomes. So every negative can't always be looked at just a negative. It can be looked at as a learning experience, right? So even if you have a bad boss, take something away from that, even if it is, I will never be a boss like that guy or that person. So at least you take something away from every experience, good or bad. But let's focus more on the positives that we can take from that, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, yes, like every experience we have after every decision, like let's learn something from it.
Exactly.
And
Good point.
just every step of the way, like taking that, like there's no such thing. I tell people this, and maybe you can disagree, but like I tell people there's no such thing as bad information. There's only good information and great information.
There you go.
So when the Blues won the Stanley Cup, that's
Greatest
great
day ever.
information. Thanks. Play Gloria. Let's do it again.
Yep.
When something bad happened, that doesn't mean it's bad information. It just means it's okay, good information. Good to know. Thank
Yep.
you. I know I know that accidents happen on this street. So that's bad, bad news that accidents happen on that street. But good information to me, I can avoid that street.
That's a good point. That's a
But
good way to put a
there's
spin on
no
it.
such thing as bad information.
Yep. That's a good way to put a spin on it. I like what you did there.
So it's not so much of finding the positives in our thing. It's just remembering like that rejection or the experiences that you have aren't meant to necessarily destroy you. They just actually they're there to build your character and become better information for the decisions that you make in the future, like we're
Exactly.
talking about.
Yep. I agree with that. Good point.
So yeah. You're getting a lot of love. Charlene Earl says, "Love you, Doug Rains."
That's my mother-in-law, another cheerleader, that's for sure. So
Now you
obviously
got all the cheerleaders there.
I do, and that's why you know what biggest cheerleader supporters, of course, is my wife, who basically allows me to do so much in the community and be so involved. Obviously being able to spend the time at home that I have and being able to go out and do those things. And I drag her along to a lot of these events that we have, these galas and such. And, I say drag, but she enjoys being there as well. And I couldn't do it without her and the support of my family and my children and, my coworkers here at the department. Uh, Chief Steve Brown, he supported me from day one when I said, "Hey, I got an idea." And he's always said, "Let's do it," and we've always worked together. And from the board of directors to the fire chiefs here, I couldn't be happier that I've received the support that I have to do the things that I've been able to do, not only through the department but outside of the department in the community. So I'm very, very fortunate to have this path that I've been on and had the cheerleaders that I have, starting with my mom.
Well, I'm a big cheerleader of yours. So wherever you go in life, let me know so I
I
can be like,
appreciate
oh
that,
yeah.
Brian. That means a lot coming from
Um, and you get more like it's Ashley Rains is saying, "Hey, Uncle Doug,"
I think now that everyone just wants to hear their name. So, you know what?
and
I
you got
think
a
it's
Heather
great.
Rains.
What's that?
Heather
There's
Rains,
my wife.
giving you a big old heart right there.
Yeah, that's good.
Uh, I guess that I feel like that's a very interesting point. In your line of work, I feel like you have to have a family, that supports that because
Mhm.
uh, uh, I've heard horror stories that when dad walks out, doesn't come home the next day,
Yeah,
and so I think is not only takes a brave person but a brave family to understand like, hey, this work is needed and we're all for it and stuff. And so I love the cheerleaders because we were talking about when I was on with Connor Van Beskert the other day.
yep.
His wife had to be his biggest cheerleader.
Oh
Like
yeah,
if you're going into entrepreneurship and business, if your family's not on board with it, they don't maybe have to be 100%. I feel like you guys have to be more 100% on board with it. Um, but yeah, finding people, having your support from your family must mean the world to you, uh, especially in your line of work.
it absolutely does, because you know what? The truth be told, that there are some horrible days that happen here, and the family that I have here at the fire department allows me to talk about it, allows me to relax, and we can talk about how horrible the day was and what we could do to make it better, what we could do to get through that. And there's a huge support system for first responders in our area, in the St. Louis, St. Charles County area. And then the other aspect of it is the true family. It's the wives and the kids and the moms and the dads and the brothers and sisters that support you and know that when you come home and say, "I had a bad day," they respect that, because one, they can't imagine how bad the day was for you, and two, that they understand that you might not be yourself for a couple days, but just to show a little bit of empathy towards them, or towards yourself, and understand that it was just crappy. So the two families that I have, I couldn't be more appreciative of, and it's not only the family that I have here at the station, this fire department, but it's all first responders. It's that subtle nod that you have of respect and understanding of, this is crappy. However, we'll get through it, and we'll learn from this, and hopefully the next time it won't be as bad. Um, so yeah, it is wonderful to have those cheerleaders, and all of the people that you and I both network with and are involved in community with. Like I said, they're huge supporters of first responders, and I can't be more appreciative of that. I know that you had Mark Hollander on the other day, and one of his statements was reflective of his appreciation for myself and Chief Skip Galden from Cottleville. And that's a huge thing to hear coming from him, a person I look up to, and I kind of view as a mentor of mine. So yeah, let's
So
talk
what
about
I
good
would
stuff, though, Brian. Let's talk about exciting stuff. Nobody wants to hear about bad days.
no, well, that's to make the day better. Because I want to know what I think we all know that we can thank a firefighter, we can thank a policeman, we can thank the first responders when we see them. But what I would like to know a little bit more is how can we show our appreciation beyond that?
Honestly, the fire service and really all first responders, we've really been shown over the years in our community, we are loved. And it shows up at Christmas and Thanksgiving and in those holidays when people show up and they just stop by and they just want to say thank you and do that. So for us, it's just seeing us in the store or seeing us out and about and saying thank you. That goes a long way with us. It's like I mentioned earlier about just mentioning somebody's name and saying we appreciate you and being thankful. I think when you talk about today's times, you really have to look at the nurses and the doctors and those people that were put in those situations that didn't expect this. The EMS workers that have really changed themselves as far as the protocols and how they work, and the employees of St. Charles County Ambulance District. We ran a call earlier with two of the medics that we run with all the time. In a 48-hour period last rotation, they ran 24 calls in a 48-hour period. Now, there's no sleep going on there when you're running 24 calls in a 48-hour period. So, when you see those people, understand that they're doing an amazing job already. But during this pandemic, they might be doing a little bit more, and they might just need that thumbs up or thank you or that little nod to say, we really appreciate you. We feel that. We see that from our community. Our community supports us very much, and we're very appreciative of that. And it's nice to be given that. Like I said earlier, it's not the awards and things that we do these for, but when you do hear your name, or you do get a head nod or a hug or a high five from air high five now, that it means a lot. It tells us that we're appreciated. So, as far as the community, we have signs out in our front yard right now that says, thank you, heroes work here. It's great that people think of us now and recognize that, this is really tough on a lot of us because of what the changes have been going on. So uh, I hope that answered your question, but just a simple thank you and not acknowledge of appreciation is all we need.
I mean, are you guys selling calendars?
I don't think you want me on a calendar, but no, we actually do have, Central County does have some calendars with some amazing pictures in it. So if anybody wants one, they can definitely stop by the fire station and pick it up. That's not the typical fireman calendar that maybe you were thinking of, but
I was,
it does have, it
I
does
was
have.
just wondering if you needed to be a fireman to be in that, because if you guys are just looking for models, people who can hold an axe well but don't actually use an axe well, like I'm your guy. But
If it was all on looks, you would be in the calendar. So you would be you'd be
oh,
January.
Praise to the man.
Yeah.
But besides that, like, how can we, if anybody has dreams or ambitions to be a firefighter, how can they find out more information?
So right now, there's two fire academies in the area. One is St. Charles County Fire Academy, and one is St. Louis County Fire Academy. Um, Both give you the firefighter 1 and 2 certifications to become a fireman. St. Louis City also has a fire academy. That's a separate. You basically go through St. Louis City's fire academy, and you only become a St. Louis City fireman. So the two academies, you can check into those. I don't know the qualifications or what the parameters are for that, but recognize that the job is mentally and physically challenging, and if you feel like you are somebody that can give back and make a difference or want to make a difference in people's lives, I would highly encourage you to get into the first responder role for sure. Fireman, police officer, dispatcher, whatever you feel your role is to making a difference, I would say definitely, as we talked earlier, take a step. Definitely see what it's about. And, maybe it's not a fireman, maybe it's not a policeman, but maybe a dispatcher or a nurse or whatever your role is. But if you feel like you want to make a difference, I would highly encourage you to look into taking that step.
Um, I lost my train of thoughts. I was gonna ask you a really good question,
No,
but
no.
I might think of it real quick. Beside, yep, I'm just.
That happened.
I'm
You got
sorry.
yourself all funneled up with that calendar thought process of holding an axe.
I'm hoping it's just based on looks. I can play if I mean, I like the pickup line. Hey, I'm not a firefighter, but I play one on TV or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
Um. Um. Yeah, I'm sorry. I need to be able to write things down more. I forget to write things down. I didn't even know what day it is today. I
Yeah.
hope you do.
As a fireman, we rarely know exactly what day it is because of our schedule. I do know that it's Thursday though, this week, but normally I couldn't really tell you the day of the week. I just know it. I work in a day or two or whatever that schedule is, so I can sympathize with that.
Gotcha. I remember the question.
Go ahead.
One thing that I understand that there are ways to accommodate people who are hearing impaired.
Mhm.
That should not disqualify them from trying or striving to become a firefighter. Correct?
Correct. No, I don't believe right now there's anything on paper that says you can't be a firefighter, right? If you can physically pass the test, if you can mentally pass the written test, if you mentally have the desire to be that, there's no reason why you can't. You have overcome so much. If anybody else is out there and wants to overcome any challenge that they have, if it's the fact that they're not strong enough or they're not fast enough or they're not mentally sharp enough to pass the written test or whatever it is, you can prepare for that. You can overcome those challenges. And you're a prime example of that. You've overcome challenges throughout your life and look what you've become. Just think if you were, when you were 6 or 8 and you were like, I want to be a fireman, I guarantee you today you would have been a fireman. Except you wanted to be a ninja, I think, wasn't it? A ninja? Is
I
that
wanted to be a Power Ranger,
Power Ranger? Yes.
a
So Power
whale
Ranger.
trainer, and an underwear model. That's what I'm trying to get on the calendar now.
Yeah. So good. You're more likely with the Power Ranger.
No, I appreciate you answering that because every year at the Mike Bush Fantasy Baseball Camp
Mhm.
for the deaf and hearing impaired, we get an engine out there, and the kids just love it. They go nuts, and the crew is so kind to walk around the truck and show them all the different tools and gadgets you guys get to use for the job, and like all these kids are like saying, "Hey, I want to do this when I grow up." And you overhear some people like, "Oh, I don't think they hire people who are deaf." And I'm like, "Well, they should. If you got what it takes, they should do everything in their power. to get you on board, because like if you make an impact enough, people will be like, yeah, we want that person. We'll figure
Absolutely.
out everything else.
Yeah, and you don't want to tell anybody no. That's the word. If you want to be a basketball player and you're 5'4", you might not make it to the NBA, but you can be the best basketball player at 5'4" that anybody has ever seen if you put your mind to it. So no, you could be the best singer that you ever will be. You might not make it to a record deal, but you could make yourself the best that you can possibly be. And you always think about your mind gives up much quicker than your body does. So your mind tells you you're done. There's so much more in the tank left. Keep going. Never settle for that. And I think, like I said earlier, so many people fail before they even start because they've told themselves, I can't, or somebody else has told them, you can't do that. Well, we need more people that say, you know what? I'm going to try. And regardless of your ability, as you know, I'm a big supporter and I sit on the board with DASA, which is the Disabled Athlete Sports Association, who participates with the Mike Bush. You should see the athletes that we have that if anybody ever told them no, I couldn't imagine the look or the response that they would get from that because they're not quitters. They don't accept no. They basically accept that as a challenge. So yeah, don't ever accept no. Maybe it's a different way you have to get there, but keep trying, take that step.
I always tell people two things. I said, when I was breaking my world record, I gave one of my favorite speech that I gave was at Valley Industries, um, because it was they hired people with disabilities to work there, right? And so my whole speech was disabilities can be capabilities if you just imagine what you can do rather than
Correct.
what people tell you can't do.
Exactly.
And so I tell people all the time, I don't know if it's because I'm deaf or it's just who I am. But when they say can't, I just hear can.
Good for you. That's
Uh,
why I love you so much because you're so positive in aspects of that. So yes, keep saying that.
but I know I can't do a backflip because when I was 12 years old, I tried doing a backflip off a diving board, and it ended up me at the bottom of the pool, like bruised upside, bottom of the pool. But I survived. I just know I personally can't do a backflip since we're talking about things we can't do.
Well,
But
there's always something.
I'm blessed to be a speaker, not a diver.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think I'm a better speaker than a diver. So
It sounds like you are.
well, Doug, I just want to say thank you, and I don't want to take any more of your time, but thank you for being on this. And before I go, one of my favorite questions is to ask my guests and ask my friends is what are three things that you can do to encourage people right now?
I touched on one of them a little bit earlier, and that's just smile, especially today. If even if you have to take that mask down in the grocery store or wherever it is and show that smile, it's definitely smile. Um, Things may seem bad, but they're not. They're just different. It's just change. We will get through this. I really feel for the workers that are off work right now, the small businesses. So if you can, my second thing would be to support the community, smile, support the community, come out and show that we want to make help these people survive. We want our neighbors to do well. We want our small businesses to do well. So smile, come out and support those small businesses, and do whatever you can within your means to do that. Um, when the third thing is give back, and that's really a wide open or vague statement, but you can always give back financially. But if you can give back with some of your time to an organization or a non-for-profit, we have so many amazing non-for-profits in this um, in this area. If you could just give back a little bit of your time and support them, they need all sorts of help. And if you could just give 1 or 2 hours a month to you, that would be a minimal amount of time, probably the amount of time you spend on Facebook or social media. And if you could just give that back to one of those organizations, that might just allow them to go to the next step or help somebody else. And then when you do that, brag about it. Brag about what you have done on social media. It's a pat on the back. It's the pat on the back or the tooting of the horn that you don't, as Brian Jackson doesn't do enough of. But if you do that, people will see that you're out there doing it. Hey, I spent 2 hours picking up trash or typing in things for such and such, or big DASA, helping the DASA athletes. Those things are going to change your life. I guarantee you, by just giving back a little bit of time, you will, at the end of that year, giving back 24 hours of time, you will be a much better changed person. And you will probably change the lives of not only the organization that you work with, but your friends and family around you that see that you have given back. And I guarantee you, you're going to change those people's lives too, because they will want to get involved. So that 24 hours might immediately become 72 hours of giving back. It doesn't take much, but so smile, give back, and support would be the three things that I would say.
So smile, worth a while. It's not about what you can give. It's not about what you can get. It's about what you can give.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one is support.
Support.
Support. I like
Yep.
support. Support's actually one of my deep down favorite encouragements, because when I was down working with a ministry in the state of Florida, we were going to I was sharing my story at every juvenile justice facility in the state. And we would tell them that they were loved, but one of the women's facility, young girl facility I went to, when I was giving my speech, they kept on whispering something. And so my friend kind of took back over and he said, like, oh, what are you guys whispering that's so important that you have to say it right now? And they said support. We're saying support because our warden, or the person who's in charge of all of them, says that if you like something in somebody, or you like something that somebody says, you better let them know. And so what they do to actually show support is anytime somebody says something that's like spot on to them, they say support. It's kind of
Yep.
like the mental like button. I do it a lot, when I'm like, I don't want to say it like over and over on this call, but I'm just like, support. Yep. Support.
I like that. We should get shirts that say the dynamic duo support.
I like it. And then we can make our own calendar.
That's right. I know my mom would buy one. Your mom would probably buy one too. So
So, well, thank you very much, Doug, for being on the show, and just thank you for all the work that you do, not only at the fire station, but in the community as well. And also, thank you for being a great dad and a great husband and an awesome son to your mom. And I'm sure they will like the crap out of this video. I don't know why I said crap. You said crap earlier, so I thought I'd say it. But thank you so much for being it on. And just remember wise words from Captain Doug Rain, that you need to smile, give, and support. And
yes.
I think that's a great way to sign it off. And to all my friends, thank you for watching. And remember, I got friends in low places, but I also got friends in high places. Amen. And I will see you next time on Friends of Brry.